Awesome. All right.
Okay.
Hello, Music Multiverse listeners. Welcome to another album review Saturdays 2024. This is episode 27 live from my car in lovely Boston, Massachusetts. I'm sorry for the partial up the nostril shot you'll get from occasion to occasion, but that's what we got to do here. I've got two bars, and I'm not talking about two places I can go to drink at. I'm talking about my internet. And I knew I would have no time tonight to do this show and get it on and over with. So I've got one daughter's birthday, and they're the last hurrah for the one who's tournament wise. So it's a crazy day. And speaking of crazy, DAHM is on the program, finally back. What have you been up to?
Golf
Anything?
tournaments and sick, family members, and I'm living the dream, Mark. Living the dream, but I'm back where I
Living
should
the
be.
dream.
I'm back to where I'm in my happy place for about an hour, and then I go back to living the dream. How's that?
This is it. These are the things you want to do, and hope they don't get thwarted. So album review Saturday is an extension of our article section. Yes, I did write the articles. They'll be there when this goes live. More opinion there, some little things. So as always, if you like what we're doing here, love you to subscribe to the channel. If you don't, just keep going anyway. You can subscribe later. And for those of you that have already committed to the channel, it's a thank you very much. And we love the musical banter going on for sure. On the site this Saturday, we start with Mike Campbell and the Dirty Knobs, Vagabonds, Virgins, and Misfits. Then we move to Emiliana Torini's Miss Flower. And then we finish with Mothman and the Thunderbirds, Portal Hopper. Well, how did I come up with that one? We'll get to that. So we'll start with Mike Campbell and the Dirty Knobs, Vagabonds, Virgins, and Misfits. Okay, first of all, let's address the elephant in the room, in the studio, and standing behind me, mystically, magically, invisible form while I'm listening to this record. Of course, that would be Tom Petty. If you've been together this long, it's obviously going to affect the rest of your life. It affects mine when I don't hear him. I can imagine how it affects Mike Campbell. So I'm always reminded of that which came before. And apparently so too is Mr. Campbell. And for me, perhaps a bit too aware. The connection is like that of non-identical twins. Actually, that's a terrible analogy and a reach to be poetic. But in actuality, it's part of the problem. And you'll hear and see what I'm talking about later. What I mean to say is Tom Petty and Mike Campbell, musically connected forever. Like that of Elton John and Bernie Taupin, like Billie Eilish and Phineas O'Connell, maybe even Bono and The Edge. So think of what could happen next, right? So the catalog, albums, songs, they live in memories, and will ever be timeless. Songs will be rediscovered by Petty and Campbell throughout the ages. The voice will be uniquely remembered, and the effortless charisma and musicianship with Campbell will be forever engraved on the Floridian's career, which obviously already ended up in the Hall of Fame with the band, but I believe he will get in by himself eventually. That's just my opinion. And why do I say that? Coming up. The problem, Mike Campbell is typecasting himself in his own movie. In my opinion, I love it. I don't love it as much. If this is by nature and homage, then okay, I get it. But however, this installment is definitely too close in sound for me. The writing itself seems like it's in that same style. I find my ears critiquing it rather than enjoying it or comparing it. And I know what they were going to ask when my wife was listening to it in the car on the ride here to Boston, and she looked over. She leaned to this lovely device that was playing the music, and I know what she was looking for. She was wondering if this was Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, well, she's moved back, and I didn't say a word. So I do understand the whole left music world, and there's not a band that sounds like that. So to have something like this is still a good thing. I think the first two albums were a very good thing. I'm not as sold on this. He's got Lucinda Williams. He's got Graham Nash. Chris Stapleton, and Ben Montrench, who's also from the Heartbreakers, coming in. My one takeaway here is his list of endless contributions in the music industry is ridiculous. Ridiculous. This guy can play. He can probably put himself on a level with Jeff Beck. Not maybe in how he's joined to the guitar, but he's done music with Stevie Nicks, shitloads of music with Stevie Nicks, Don Henley, Aretha Franklin, Rob Thomas, the Wallflowers, Joe Cocker, Tracy Chapman, Johnny Cash, Neil Diamond, the Dixie Chicks, or whatever the hell they're called these days, Ian Hunter, Bad Religion, and recently Margot Price. This is all kinds of genres, all kinds of talent, and even Randy Newman. Randy Newman is a soundtrack maker. I mean, he's written his own albums too, and he's got that clever Toy Story kind of jabs and political jabs, and I like that stuff. Even though I don't sway to his way of politics, it doesn't matter. I want Mike to be cognizant that it's getting a little bit dangerous. If you want, I think his vocal even seems like he's doing that. But Deb, how are you on that?
Well, very interesting because obviously, I do my little research about trivia and stuff, and I knew his background, but I really didn't know where he was after the Heartbreakers. I didn't know a lot that obviously. But when I did do some reading, I wasn't surprised about him writing songs for Don Henley and the rest that you mentioned. But when I read that after I listened to the album the first time. I went, well, why is he trying to copy Tom Petty? That's exactly what I thought. I go, I love Tom Petty. He is a very important person in my musical history for me and my kids, and my connection through both of them. Like, it just brings me to a place of comfort. And I'm like, he kind of is acting like a poser here or something. And I know that's his background, but I don't see Jimmy Page trying to sing like Robert Plant. I don't, I think that there's too much talent there to just be wrapped up into this little pigeonhole of where he made his first mark. Here's the thing though. Do you know the Dirty Knobs part of the band name is a broken amp dial? I had to throw that in there. I thought that was cool.
Yeah.
I thought it was just something not clean for COVID or something. I didn't know.
Yeah. Well, but they were the Dirty Knobs when Petty and them were in the band the Heartbreakers. So
that's true. Yeah, so that's an old reference, but I listened to the album through and through the first time, then I did my little research in that, and then I listened to it again. If this was something that was totally original, I would love it. I kept going, why ride on the back of Tom Petty so much? There's obviously talent here. I did like the album itself. I liked the mix of the rock, country, honky tonk blues, which is the roots of all of that. But it did flow nicely where I didn't feel like every single song was rock or rockabilly. Then there was, it switched, and it felt like, what song did I really like? Oh, you mentioned Chris Stapleton. This man is everywhere lately. Like, I can't get rid of Chris Stapleton, right?
He's a Stapleton of everything.
Everything. He's like, I don't know. I'll think of an analogy, but it's an oversaturation at this point. But I go, oh, there's Chris. There's Chris. I did like that song. Don't Wait Up. The flow of the album, I liked how it kind of went like Hands Are Tied to Hell or High Water to Innocent Man. The Old Friends was that honky tonk feel. Innocent Man, I wanted to mention to you, Mark, I've been trying to listen and read the words more and get into the artist's head about how this lyric goes with this genre of music. Well, Innocent Man is about a border crossing where he's totally innocent, and I can relate.
Drag me in like a criminal, then they called in the constable. I wound up in a cold jail cell, staring at the
been at a
Yes,
border
you can.
crossing where I was
I'm
totally
glad you-
innocent.
I'm
So-
glad you got to that. That was a mix. When I saw that, I was like, oh, I wonder if she's going to pick up on that. Well, we'll let it go.
Yes,
That's
it was
great.
a
That's
traumatic
great.
experience.
Yeah,
So he
yeah,
came
for
through
both
it
of us.
okay. You know, there were a lot of bends and twists and different genres that I liked. If I could just stop thinking about his voice and being mad at him for just doing that. I mean, even the mandolin in Amanda Lynn, that one, that which I love. The name of the song is Amanda Lynn, and it starts
Yeah.
with a mandolin.
Yeah.
And I went,
So you love, yeah.
I liked it just because it sounded different. I didn't hear mandolin so much in a Tom Petty song or whatever, but it was enjoyable. It just felt like a ripoff.
Yeah. Okay. So I understand the raw side of things. I get it. Dirty Knobs are a fine establishment that surround Campbell. Their accolades. I mean, the past drummer who's not on this record was with Alanis Morissette / and then he wasn't on this record because he's touring with AC/DC. So obviously these people can play with all kinds of interesting people.
Yes.
Comes in. So I think some of that thing gets changed around a bit. Obviously, when you add Heartbreakers, that makes it Heartbreakerish, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
If you're liking this, okay, this is a not a bad example, but an okay example. A great example is Stevie Ray Vaughan's band Losing It, right? And then the Archangels album comes, right? That's a really good follow-up.
Yeah.
Hang on, has its flow, but it doesn't quite sound like that. But you know how talented the band is. And I would love, I think the accompaniment of having more people in might be great. Honorary Heartbreakers. They could just do the Heartbreakers and bring in people in and out. I think that might be enjoyable too, even if they change the sounds of people like that are coming in to do these songs, but new songs, not covers, because they already did that with went on just earlier. So they generally have something in this. It's a melodic rock toe tapping lane, and I always enjoy these records. I know that Campbell is a strong part of that, which was too. So he owns it just as much as Petty does. There's no question. So it does. I'm not getting that, but I'll tell you this. The Dirty Knobs even getting past this album for a 10-year run would surprise me greatly, because I think about the Traveling Wilburys and how good those two records are, and they went nowhere right after. Like the UK didn't give a shit, nobody else cared, and there you are. And I just actually the Traveling Wilburys, I did an album for today yesterday, and that was kind of the thing I said. It didn't sell in the UK. And there's a Beatle on the freaking record. So yeah.
Anyway, there's a problem there.
Yeah,
you're right.
Yeah. All right. So Emiliana Torini, who I've forgot about. I mean, not forgot about, but she had such a record presence a little bit back that I remembered, and two albums right back to back that were genuinely interesting in the folk electronica background, and a showcase vocal that kind of made you pay attention. So as I stated above in the article side, I kind of lost the connection with her, but she's got a vocal styling that's kind of like this mystic whisper. And these things happen when a genre becomes sort of removed from your palate. Electronica kind of lost its luster pretty quick. A few got to hold on to it, but it started to turn into DJ and EDM and everything else. And I think it kind of lost. So, and while I cannot seem to compare from memory most of the tracks, I do believe that she's always had this thing that you had to have patience to listen to this, because there's a beauty that's intentful. And that goes from vocal, but it also, yes, of course, she's Icelandic, okay? So there's an attention to vocal appreciation, inch by inch, on how sound is dedicated to. Her records are always deep in the electronica. They fetch life sounds, mixing them into like the breath of limited instrumental work. There's very limited instrumental work in this. When I mentioned the players in this, but it's elegantly simple. It's hypnotic, while her voice assures you of the beauty of the past, and in this case, of the songs that surround making love, I guess, because this is more of a has a lot of the sex laden kind of stuff to it. If you're not familiar, she definitely can be compared to a more stripped down classical approach to Bjork. So, I guess the Icelandic apple doesn't fall too far from the Icelandic tree.
If they have
Not that
trees,
all her, yeah, they probably do. They're just icicle trees.
they bush. brush.
Okay,
I don't
all
know.
Icelanders are no longer watching Beyond Your Radio. So not that all her albums fall into the stripped approach. So please take an interest and dive into her catalog to see the breadth of her talent. Miss Flower is the slow, classical yet modestly electronic type of album, moving away from the trip hop electronica that I loved in Love in the Time of Science, which was my first introduction to her, and then the Fisherman's Woman, which was a more folk. She took the electronic but added the folk and the guitar. So this is
Mhm.
kind of like a blissful adjustment to a digital ambient mix. And of course, though, she doesn't forget about the piano. She doesn't forget about the acoustic guitar, and she makes it all work. Flower is an album that needs your willing, undivided attention, and I don't think it can be done in an ambient realm. You probably have to put it in here. Well, she defines her lines of electronic. There's a bit of jazz, folk, and that classical musicianship. She's the guitarist, she's keyboards, synthesizer. I remember imagining she was piano. I didn't. This Simon Burt, who spells his name cleverly, Byrt, that he does the synth, violin, bass, guitar programming. So there's a lot. And I'm gonna make a little bit of a mention here to my I love Swell Season and the movie Once, which starred Glenn Hansard and Margeta Ergolova. Now, Margeta Ergolova has a musical nod on this as the song "The Golden Thread." She basically doctored that song.
And so did you. And so did you.
So she has a little take on this in this record. If you want to know like how important a feature like having that piano is, just listen to A Dream Through the Floorboards as the record finishes, and you'll completely grasp what I mean by the importance of that elegance. But I'm pretty sure this would have been Deb's first foray into Emiliana Torini. So what did your virgin ears tell you?
Well, first of all, you had told me she was from Iceland, but I would never tell by her name. Her name does not look that way, but
No,
I read up on it, and it's because like something happened with her father that had to do something with Icelandic rules about how you use surnames and blah blah blah. And then they listed all the names she could have used. I'm glad she used this one because there wasn't weird symbols, weird letter combinations that the
yes.
US can't pronounce. But I learned that. And there's no surprise that she's from Iceland because she actually performed a song in Lord of the Rings called Gollum's Song. And
I
isn't it?
forgot about that. Yeah.
But
yeah.
isn't that the law? If you're from Iceland, you have to have something to do with Tolkien, and like it just seems like that's how he writes. And like I know Middle Earth and England and all this stuff, but Iceland just kind of fits that whole weird genre stuff in her music.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. And if you're really popular, then you get the How to Train Your Dragon too, and you get on that soundtrack.
oh well, that's even better.
The North.
Not Gollum song. So I as far as the album overall, I mean her vocals are very music movie score worthy. I really think that her tonality, it's not the word you like to use, bombastic. It's there. It's you feel comfort when she wants you to feel comfort. You feel a little bit more excitement when she wants you to feel excitement, and she does it all through her voice. That's how I felt. I don't
Yep.
think she needed a lot of instrumentation to make me feel what she was singing about. You were saying that this album about love and sex and passion, yeah, she's very seductive in the way she sings, very melancholy too, but that's love is usually wrought with joy and despair, so she captures that. One of the words that I saw that described her was trip hop, and it's kind
Mhm.
of makes sense to me. This album had a little bit of a Latin edge that I could feel in certain songs. It was weird.
Yeah.
But I didn't pick up on one song in particular. I would just feel it in different parts. But this isn't my cup of tea, obviously, but there was nothing wrong with it. It was very pleasant. Somebody would put it on. I'd not turn around and go, what are you listening to? Because that's usually my take when I don't like something. Some of the songs that I found interesting that grew on me throughout listening was Dreamers. I really liked that song. But Miss Flower, I didn't like it at first, but then when I read the lyrics, I went, this is crazy. She's not going to mow somebody's lawn. She's mowing somebody's lawn for attention. And I'm like, I'm not mowing your lawn just to get your attention. I am not. I have grown past that. I'm a 61-year-old woman. If you don't just
I,
like my cooking, I'm not mowing your lawn. But this whole song has really interesting metaphors through the whole thing. And
yeah.
that in itself will make me go back and listen to this album, but not just listen, but read the lyrics more closely. And one of the best songs that I liked, and I don't know if you remember this song, but you remember things better than me. Golden Thread. I really liked that
Yeah.
song. The lyrics were really interesting. They captured my attention, my imagination, and I think for all of that, I will give her another listen because it ended up being more enjoyable than I thought it would be from your brief description. I'm not dissing you. You gave me a little
Right.
bit of an idea, and I went,
Yeah.
okay, that set me up a little bit, but I found some little gems in there along the way.
The first time I heard this record, I went, whoa, 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 what has happened? What has happened? And then because I remembered, you remember things differently. And between the Science album and the Fisherman's Woman, there is a change to a more folklore classical approach. Even though the trip hop electronica still wavers in there, this is a little bit more ambient. Even the classical gets nudged a bit. Yeah, I had to. It was 3 listens when I started to, and then the lyrics started to really pop, and the metaphor, yeah, just there was the one song that really threw me. I think that sometimes when you're not hearing an album the way you should, and then a song comes on that just literally doesn't do anything for it except make it worse for you. Comes on, there was one where this was entirely repetitive. Dancing, something about dancing, and I'm like,
yeah,
anyway,
not dancing. I didn't write that one down,
yeah,
and I'm getting
but
it
that's what
confused with the
that
next
kept.
album. So
Yeah, it kept going on and on. So, and I
yeah,
was just like, oh, I don't want to be dancing, and I don't think this album
she's
needs. But I get it. But I get where she was coming from. It's a little less annoying to me this time. But yeah, yeah, it's a good record. There's a lot of her back catalog to go through. That's excellent.
is
So,
she the one
and
that's
worthy.
trained? Is she trained operatically? Is she the one that there? Because I didn't know if it was her.
I
Is
know.
an
I think no, it is. I think that's is. We're getting there.
okay?
Oh boy! Spoiler alert! Spoiler alert! All right.
I'm
So
canceled. Cancel me.
it's funny. It's funny. It's funny
Stay
because
tuned.
his might have been in this list, and then it got. Yeah, stay tuned. Don't go anywhere.
Okay, got it.
Although you can fast
All right.
forward. Son of a bitch. But anyway, so okay, so I get my boy over there overseas, Italy, Metaverse. He sends me stuff, and all of a sudden I see this one from Mothman and the Thunderbirds, and I'm like, oh yeah, it's my boy sent, and I realize it's not sent by him. It was sent by the people that represent obviously the band Mothman and Thunderbirds or somebody.
For real?
So they sent me they sent me the album ahead of schedule, and they told me when it was going to release.
Hey,
And
let me check my notes.
It released in Philly while I was in Philly, but I wasn't able to get anyone to listen to the album, and I figured I wanted to have another opinion because this is a little bit different than what's going on today, in my opinion. So Portal Hopper is their record. The minute this concept record starts, you can identify the progressive nature of the band, the details that are probably going to be forthcoming, as you don't start out this way unless you truly mean it. All right, you don't take your band and go, all right, the first song is just gonna, wow, and then we're gonna taper off and just blow it all out. We're not gonna do it very well. No, I kind of figured they were going to go guns a-blazing. While the cover doesn't speak to this at all. The only thing the cover provides is maybe I don't know, the color of the vibrant nature of the musicianship. All right. Okay. Now the concept of this space and portal hopping. Okay. All right. But God, maybe you should have talked to Carl Sagan's drawer, or just taken a picture of space and done that. It might have been a little bit more progressive nature looking. But I obviously there's a reason why, because this is not all progressive. This is quite the mishmash. So let's start out with the only thing that's not jumping through portals of variety, and that's the vocal. The lead vocalist range is wonderful. It's tight. It's easily heard. It's melodically infused to every track. Whether he's asked to do it in typical progressive rock, progressive metal, or even a Faith No More groove-laid synth pop going on. All right.
Yeah.
I can go to Phil Collins with it, like Reach, and what's it called? Akashic Records is the name of the song. It's a lower progressive rock. Metal like that. Then you're hearing Dream Theater kind of vocals. And there's another familiarity that I couldn't put my finger on when listening to this. It came from this song called Escape from Flatwoods. I was like, God, this sounds like something, but I couldn't even come up with it. There's a lot of music packed into this album. So on the boys from Philadelphia, what say you, Deb?
Well, the album cover, you saying that just made me laugh. And then the names of the songs. So like I couldn't find much trivia on this band. I didn't look real hard, but so I'm just gonna make up my own. You can guess their influences for sure is Yes and ELP and Deep Purple and King Crimson and just all of the. But the names of the songs in the album cover, and I'm sitting there going, all right, Polygonal Pollywog, Flatwoods Monster, Squonk Kingdom, and then the picture of the album, and then all this stuff. And then I went, is this Spinal Tap? Is somebody punking me? Like, this is how I felt. I thought little druid people were going to come out and dance around Stonehenge or something, because it seemed really formulatic at first before I even listened to anything. So I definitely had my blinders on, my mask on. I thought I knew what I was going to know, but I didn't know what I was going to know. I liked Fractals. That song was more funk and Middle Eastern flair. That was weird to me. I went, okay, now they're going from this progressive rock thing and trying to get into when, Zeppelin went over and did their Middle Eastern thing and the Beatles and all that kind of stuff. So that made me listen more. And I didn't dislike it the first time through, but I liked it even more the second time through. So I think I need to listen to it third time. I think it did justice to what they have been described as being, and then some. I think they took it a little bit further, so I wasn't just like, yeah, I know what this is going to be. I know this is prog rock. I know what to expect, and then it switched up a little. And Somewhere in Time, I think that was another song that was completely not what I would expect out of progressive rock. So I liked it actually, and when I first read the name, I went, oh, what is he doing to me? Do I have to get some acid to drop before I do this? And where do I get acid to drop? I Googled it.
When I first got this and they told me about the band and their descriptions, I could tell they were, this is an ambitious piece. First of all, Squonk. Squonk is only mentioned in the history of the world one time. Genesis. Okay? And not Genesis the Bible, Genesis the band.
Squonk Lamb Lies Down
is a song from Trick of the
Tail.
Tail.
that
Yes.
word, when I saw
Am I-
that word, I go,
am
why
I-
do I know this
Somebody
word?
correct me, but I'm pretty sure. Remember, I'm in a car. So when you go Squonk Kingdom, all right. When he sent it to me, I looked and I go Squonk Kingdom. Well, fuck, we're listening to that. It was instant. I mean, the rest of the album could have sucked. I would have had to listen to the whole thing anyway because this person named Squonk Kingdom. Yes, I gotta have that. I got more Squonk. I got more cowbell. I need more Squonk.
We need more squonk.
Alright.
That's our new thing. We're gonna say that. That should be our new tagline whenever anything is good on this show. We
Yes,
need more
more squonk.
squonk.
Anyway, so here we are with with this. Let's go right into the extras. There's 3 of them this week, and let's go right into the other progressive band that's on this, Nate, that's already been mentioned, and that would be IZZ, not Is, the Hawaiian singer who passed on, I believe, a brilliant vocalist. Let's you know, what did I want to? I wanted to say that, like, there's been several reviews on this band. They're kind of getting a little bit of momentum from the social media realm and YouTube. But let's since this is a swing for the yes fences, let me turn it over to our Yesian specialist. Deb, go ahead. Well,
I'm sorry. I'm sorry I let a little tidbit out ahead of time, but I'd say that in the order of us reviewing this, it was in the order that I listened to it. So I tried the second time through to not listen to Is after Mothman. It was too much for me.
Yeah.
I felt like I was really worn out from the grandiose stuff that was going on. They definitely are, I would say, a Yes copycat feel to it, more of the John Anderson feel that they keep going back to, that they feel maybe more comfortable in. I did learn that the name of is from one of the band members loved the New York Mets, and a relief pitcher was named somebody that his nickname was Is.
Oh, okay.
So this
Huh.
can't be what you were saying about the operatically trained person, but maybe it is.
No, 'cause
maybe they're just
it's the female.
okay. So it's just somebody in the band. Okay.
I would think that female, because of, so my immediate thing with this was like, it's Prague meets musical. I felt like I was in a musical, not an opera, but a musical. Like,
yes,
that's the feel I had. The production kind of got King Crimson-y, but on a lower scale. Like, they were dumbing it down for the idiot I am, which is fine. I got no problem with that, right? Because you don't know how to play a chord, you don't know any of this stuff, and I get it. So yeah, that's where I was. But anyway, I'll let you continue.
Okay, so I didn't want to listen to it because I was overloaded, but there were 2 songs that really focused more on vocals that didn't seem like they were trying to be yes or whatever. And it gave a little reprieve from that, like I said, that grandiose keyboard stuff that everybody tries to do and is just like, right? It was Deep Inside and Sometimes Sublime. Those 2 songs felt a little bit more, like I said, concentrating on the vocals and not so much on loud, fast, crazy music that's trying to get you emotional in one way. Got me emotional in a different way, which was good. Then it kind of broke into Then There's Hope. And all my hope was Dash, because I do like prog rock, but I did like the Deep Inside and Sometimes Sublime a little bit better. And then There's Hope went back to the same formula. And then I listened a little bit more, and I really like the one song, Brethren. It started with the drums. And then it went into, didn't it? I'm going to tell you who it sounded like when the instrumentation came in. It was
There's only
Rush.
one person.
It was Rush.
It was Rush.
And then I went, and I'm
It
not
starts
a
off.
huge
It
Rush
starts off
fan.
Phil Collins and it ends Rush.
Yes, yes. So that made it even more interesting to me. That made it more fun to listen a second time, just to know how it was going to start and how it goes through and just the different things that they're trying. And I don't know if we did this, if we were doing this as a regular album challenge and go through and rate all the different things that you have us, I would say the flow was that great or whatever. I don't think it would score real high for me, but I don't listen to things because of just scoring. I would listen to that again. I thought it had some merit.
Yeah, my take on this. First of all, between these two bands, between Mothman Prophecies, Mothman and Thunderbirds, and it's for me the other band, Mothman. They were prog, but they were short prog. There no elongation, no standard. This was standardized in the length of songs, except for the one I wanted to go longer, which was Brother. That was the one I wanted it to go longer.
Wasn't that
Because
funny?
when that drum kicked, I was like, I want that, and you're shortening it. Okay, great, thanks. I needed more breath in the album. There were times where the crescendos and changes, and having her come in with the operatic type of style, musical vocal was engaging, and then it became not engaging to me. I get the yes. The production of it is very, very good. They got the right people in the soundboard and everything. I'm pretty sure this will be continually climbing as it goes, but it'll probably catch my ear maybe one more time. I don't think it'll make any further jump on the list. There's just a little bit too much of that. What are they called? The Ozark tentacles, kind of playman goofy keyboard. Like, did they just play Pac-Man? You put Pac-Man on your
Oh,
record,
that, yeah,
I'm
yeah,
done.
yeah,
I'm
yeah.
done. I'm
Pac-Man.
done. All right. I don't need Goofy. I don't like Goofy. But anyway, so from Is to Sia, reasonable woman. Well, is she? Should she be? Is this too reasonable to satisfy as an album? And not as I like some of what was going on, but I thought this album might have been too much pop production, and like she was trying to go wheelhouse. Like this was intentionally placed to sell more records. Why do I say that? Let me stop, because I know why I'm going to say it. But let's see what came on for Deb that might lead to my to the discovery of why I believe this is a sellout. And I don't use that term that often, but I do believe it is.
Okay, well, that's very interesting that you are saying that, because this goes back into a little bit about me trying to learn about this musician, right? So she's Australian. Her roots in the mid 90s were acid jazz, whatever. But and oh, here's a fun fact about her name. She was born with it, so nothing fun
Okay.
fact about that. Um,
Well, to be born with that name, that's pretty decent. I mean,
yeah,
somebody
but there's
looked
nothing
out
deep and
outside the box. No.
um I did read that she, off of one of her albums, there was a music video that was very, very controversial, and it was called Elastic Heart. And it was with
Hmm.
a girl that was a preteen at the time and seductively dancing around with Shia LaBeouf. And it was 2015, so we're almost into 10 years since that happened. And I read that there was a couple other things that happened that were controversial. Something about her portraying an autistic kid in a bad light on a video or whatever. And who knows if this is all woke person stuff. But
Right.
going back to what you're saying is, yeah, this album, from what I read from the critics and that, because I didn't really know much about her, was that she is trying to reboot her career. And if you're trying to reboot your career, does that mean that you are trying to stay true to yourself, or are you trying to get back in the public um, fold of acceptance and making money? I don't know
Mm.
what that means. It's two different things we've all experienced in our lives. Are we trying to prove
Yeah.
the person that we really are, or are we just trying to make the masses love us? So I'm not sure, but that makes sense about what you're saying. Since I don't know anything else about her, I don't know um her other albums, her other songs. I did enjoy the album because she has a nice voice, her lyrics, her arrangements, but some of her songs felt too much like I'd heard them before, and almost like if I could put my finger on it or had more time, that she actually copied some of these songs from people. And the reason I'm saying this is because a lot of this album I felt were anthem songs for women. I heard a lot of Rihanna, Pink, Lady Gaga, Katy Perry, and things like Gimme Love, Go On,
Oh, you missed
Champion.
one.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. I'm a champion. I throw my hands in the air. Yeah, yeah. I'm a champion. I throw my hands in the air. Yeah,
Cali,
yeah.
yeah. They just say pressure build diamonds. I'm tough as a rock, but I'ma be the baddest bitch if they love me or not.
You missed one. You missed one girl in there.
Katy Perry, Pink, Lady Gaga, Miley Cyrus. I don't know. Who?
There you go. Miley Cyrus was my immediate. I'm like, is this her wrecking ball? What's going on here? You know, I don't need this. This woman, out of all of those people mentioned, probably has the most unique voice of any of those people.
Yeah,
All
that's
those
why I
other
found
ones
it
have
weird.
and she usually plays on that and does it so well. But now we've got production messing with her voice, and you got Paris Hilton on the album.
What? I
There,
didn't see that.
you've sold out.
Paris
That's a
Hilton.
sellout.
Wait, what song? What song? I didn't see that. I'm trying to pay attention.
Actually, the title of the song is "Will Never Love You." Okay, so this speaks to all bullshit of her trying to get back into, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Here, let me tell you, take it from somebody who's never had fame and never will. Listen to me, Sia, okay? It doesn't matter. You do what you do, all right? And you do it the way you want to do it. And
Yes.
if they don't like it, they don't like it. If they don't play it, they don't play it. If they don't agree with it, they don't agree with you. But at least you're true to yourself. At least you're singing that song from your heart. At least your voice wasn't modulated, because God damn it, Paris Hilton's which certainly was. If she can sing that good, I doubt it. Whatever. You're making bad mistake after bad mistake. I obviously, if you have debt incurred, I don't know. It's tough. This was a performer that had a very unique headspace, and of course, the headspace was actually part of it because she covers her face and all this stuff, and it kind of means something. And she had. It's not a shtick. I think it was an absolute correlation to her personality, to stigmata of our world today. And this album is like candy crap, blah blah blah. And oh, come on. You know, this one harkens pretty close to Genesis's last record, you know, with the dancing and shit, and you know, it where you just left and you popped it, you know, you went all the way to pop. And you know, I hope that this is just an outlier, maybe a little fun, trying to get her to relax from whatever. I didn't know all this other shit's going on, but that sort of makes sense in the rebound to me. So it's overproduced to the teeth, and I'm sad because I think her vocal doesn't need it, and I don't think fans would have cared one way or the other.
Yeah. I mean, there was nothing brilliant or unique in far as me being introduced to a new person is how I would
Yeah.
put it.
Yeah,
And that's the
yeah,
only
yeah.
reason I'd listen to a new person is if there was something different.
Paris Hilton's on the record, million records sold. So she's got fans. It's like
Right.
playing a game, right? It's like me trying to latch onto somebody, you know, for somebody. I don't. I just do an album and I review it. You listen to me, you don't. I mean, Mary Spender, who I just reviewed last week, she did say thank you for the review and that. But I mean, it was just because I like her journey. I wanted to just. I didn't get like 700 views and 7,000 new subscribers or anything out of that, right? Well, probably because I didn't tout the album as the greatest thing since Led Zeppelin. But I mean, it's still very good, and she's a fabulous individual. So let's leave that and go completely out of my wheelhouse into an absolute. Okay, so Shabuzi. I first of all, kudos on naming yourself, and no kudos on naming yourself. I don't even know. I don't know how to explain it. Are you a boozer?
I do.
Are you a are you a blah blah blah? I don't know. Obviously, you're in with Beyonce, so now you got your shitty 5 minutes of fame, and everyone's touting that album as probably one of the best albums of the year. Are you kidding me?
Oh my God,
Oh
no.
my God, barf. Hip hop rap, but country hip hop rap, blah blah blah. So I have to step out. I listened to the whole record. My kids were in the car and they were yelling at me because they said, if you hated our other shit, why do you like this shit? I go, I didn't say I like this shit. I had to review this shit. So that's where that is. So Deb, how was it for you?
Well, ooh, there's a lot going on there. Well, his name, just so you know, his dad's last name in Nigerian is Shibuzi, but it's spelled
Okay.
Chibueza. So he took the Nigerian spelling and tried to make it the shizzle. Okay. So that's the first
Oh,
weird
all right.
thing. Okay.
All right.
So his dad is Nigerian. His dad moved to Texas from Nigeria. And that's where Shabuzi got his cowboy roots from. Even though when you look at him, you don't think there's
All right.
anything cowboy-ish about him. Um, Obviously, this music isn't as off-putting to me as it is to you, and I know that you put this last for a reason, but I would have put it last too out of the six. So it's not that I'm being contradictory to you. I kind of agree. I do like this kind of music, but not the way he's doing it. He's totally trying to ride on the cowboy spurs of Lil Nas X. He wants to be Lil Nas X.
To my 40 acres, running full speed ahead. Always to the desert, where sun shines forever. Up north to the sea, make a few bad investments. I'm not one for gambling, but I'll take my chances.
I mean, you could hear it in Horses and Hellcat, which is the first song on the album. His voice is even kind of a Little Nas X kind of that lower, not the screechy type of voice. I wanted to like it. His voice, it the first couple songs were okay, but then they all just sounded the same. Like I understand about
Okay. So
getting
that,
your
yep, yep.
voice out there so that people recognize your voice, but you shouldn't write all of your songs to incorporate the 5 notes in the octave that you can sing well. And that's what it was to me. I stopped listening to the words because it was it was the same cadence, it was the same tone, it was in the same range. It wasn't even an octave. It was like a condensed octave that he sang in. Maybe that was his way of thinking he was rapping, but it didn't even sound like rapping. You know what I mean? So
My
rappers
kids,
try to do
my
that.
kids
They're
felt the
trying to
same way.
talk and get a beat. It's not so much about their vocal range. It was like he couldn't do anything well. He tried to do a lot of things mediocre. That's how I felt.
It's a good explanation for me because my kids were, I guess they like this kind of music to some degree, but they did
Yeah.
not like his vocal. They felt that there was no range to it. They felt that
Yeah.
it was produced. It was tainted and utilized. I mean, if you're going to do that, at least get it out of a different range or play with it. Or it felt very samey as to all the other ones. And my daughters mentioned a couple of artists. They go, "Wow, you don't like this, but you like that." I go, "No, I didn't say I like this. I'm playing it the same, And I am game for rap. I am game for hip hop. I love De La Soul. I love Eminem. I love Dr. Dre. I love Snoop Dogg. Even these rappers that are coming on and doing the voice. I go back to them, Neo and these guys. They have a vocal range and they're committed to an excellence in sound too. This does have some. This has a little bit more playful beat than, and then this is going to offend some people, but I listened to the new Eminem already twice. And it's the death of Slim Shady. If it is the death of Slim Shady, it came without any crescendo. It came without any rising action and no climax. I'm very, so this whole Drakean persona of hip hop where it's a bang, 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 a bit, and no creativity and no extra drops or beats or nothing. I've heard it all. It's basically everybody doing the same track, and that's where Sia
See,
is. That's where this Shabuzi is. You can't do these things. It's getting you're. I know you're throwing your hat in the ring and trying to make some money. Please don't do that. I try to take this seriously, and apparently you aren't. So that's my problem.
how do you
There you
feel,
have
Mark?
it, right? I'm sorry.
Don't waste our time on this show.
Well, just don't lie to me, music world, and tell me how great this is. God dang it! It's no. And Beyonce's record, I'm going to listen to it again, but it is never going to be on this show. I can tell you that, and it's never going to be in our
Okay,
top
good. Thank you, because I
100.
don't want to listen to it. I don't want to listen to it. She made me mad.
Yeah. So, what did you think of these albums? Did you give them a try? Are you going to give them a try? Hey, you should. I mean, come on. My opinion is not, not where you should hang your hat. It's just have a little fun and get you excited, or it's treading lightly into these things, right? So we'll see you next weekend, and we're going to meet Johnny Blue Skies. Yep. Trying to meet Johnny Blue Skies. Somebody changed his name. I don't know why he did. He's a legend in my mind. But anyway, check out Daryl Hall's latest. What? And even the final record from Johnny Cash. So on beyondyourradio.com, of course, you can find these articles, the links to all the shows. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube, of course. Like, subscribe again. Find another place to put your name and subscribe again. Tell your friends to subscribe. No, I don't want that. I want people to subscribe because they want to watch. I don't need 5,000 subscribers who are just my friends and my children. We'll be on the radio with us, Music Appreciation Channel. I want to thank Deb for joining us. She'll probably be back again next week, which is cool. For watching, and happy listening.
Bye.